Joe Musso and Emory Hunt here in studio, joined by the two-time champ in black and yellow, Bryant McFadden. B-Mac, I'm coming out to you here for the first word. This was not the Steelers team that efforted their way to 8-2. This was a different ball club. Obviously, things get wild with the elements in the second half, but first half didn't look themselves. Your emerging thought right now is what?
Well, the slow start, Joe, to your point, is what led the Browns to be able to do what they did in terms of upsetting the Pittsburgh Steelers. One thing you know about AFC North football, you have to throw records and resumes out of the window. We just saw a few weeks ago Baltimore playing at an all-time high at that time go into Cleveland, and they took a black eye. They took two black eyes. So when you look at what Cleveland has done the last 2 weeks, you have to throw all of that out of the window in terms of an AFC matchup, AFC North matchup. So when you talk about the slow start, I was concerned. I felt like the sense of urgency should be there. We didn't see that. And then when they got things rolling, it wasn't just about going against the Cleveland Browns, but also Mother Nature, who was not on any team's side in the second half, played a big part in what we saw to come out for a huge win for the Cleveland Browns.
It certainly was that. And you make a great point there, Mac. 2 of their wins this season coming against divisional foes here and 2 of the top teams in the AFC. Hard to make sense of it and hard to make sense of this second half in the snow, but what a scene it was, Emory. When you look at what Cleveland was able to do, how they were able to make life hard by winning that line of scrimmage, doesn't matter in the snow or not. What did you see at the point of attack that made them so dominant tonight?
Just an inspired effort, Joe and B-Mac, because what we saw last week was them just get pushed around up front in the run game by both Alvin Kamara and also Taysom Hill. But in this ball game, they were so inspired up front. You saw them reset the line of scrimmage, so much so that on many 4th and short, 4th and inches type situations, the Browns won right at the point of attack and got those possessions away from Pittsburgh. I thought they were the more physical of the 2 defenses at the line of scrimmage. Their best player, i.e. Myles Garrett, showed up big in this ball game. 3 sacks, 3 TFLs, 3 quarterback hits, 5 tackles, juxtaposed what we didn't see from TJ Watt. So they took what happened last week personally and made it a point this game to not let Pittsburgh own the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that war of words between all-world defensive ends. You look at the stats coming out of this one, and I think there is a clear and obvious answer to punctuate that conversation. We have to have a conversation about Jameis Winston because this was the full experience. You're talking about a rushing touchdown, a fumble, an interception, a tackle on an interception. Emory, it was not the effort that you're looking for in one of these games where you try and keep it clean. How did Cleveland win behind this Jameis Winston performance? Some timely throws, but outside of that, some mistakes made.
Well, here's the thing. They were, up until the last throw, they were 0-9 on 3rd down. But they were 100% on 4th down. That shows you how Jameis really gets locked in to these moments and some big-time throws in this ballgame from Jameis Winston. What I really love about what we saw from 5 and this receiving core is the relationship between he and Jerry Jeudy. They have something. You go back to the game against New Orleans, big-time throwing exhibition between Jameis and Jeudy. This game, when it was clutch situations where he was going with the football, he was going to Jerry Jeudy with the football. So Jameis throwing the ball, converting on 4th down, doing what it had to do to make sure he stayed above the Mendoza line, so to speak. He did a fantastic job. And so, yeah, he didn't throw a touchdown pass, but they dropped a couple too. But I like that this Jameis threw that crucial or had that crucial fumble by Herbig, but didn't let that deter him, didn't go into the tank, got right back out there on offense and found a way to drive them down for subsequently the game-winning point.
Just let the record show that tackle was on a fumble, not his own, not on his INT. Mac, I want to talk to you about the offensive effort by Pittsburgh because let's pitch the tape in the second half. That first 30 minutes seemed problematic. Where's your concern level right now with Pittsburgh's inability to put the ball in the end zone?
They have to get creative in the red zone. Unfortunately, we haven't seen that when you go back to last week's ball game. Couldn't score in the red zone, couldn't score again today. And that's the issue. When you talk about this ball game, guys, get this. The Steelers won the turnover battle. Cleveland had 3 turnovers, Pittsburgh had 1. But the reason why Cleveland was able to win situational football, they were great. Emory, you talked about it. They were 4 for 4 on 4th downs. They were 3 of 4 in the red zone. The Pittsburgh Steelers was 1 of 3 on 4th downs, 1 of 3 in the red zone. That's not winning football. And the one element that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been able to hang their hat on the entire season failed them tonight. The special teams part of the game. Chris Boswell missed a long field goal, but when you look at what Chris Boswell has been doing the entire season, that is makeable. That's a makeable field goal, especially in the first half where the weather was at its best. And then in the fourth quarter, when Dante Jackson came up with a huge interception. Granted, your offense went 3 and out, but you shanked the punt. I don't even know if the punt went 12 yards. You gave the Cleveland Browns great field position to work, and eventually they scored. Just think about if the punt was 30 to 40 yards. Now you have to force the Cleveland Browns to go basically the length of the football field to get in scoring range, because clearly at that moment, Kevin Stefanski made it. We're trying to score a touchdown. I do not want to try to kick a field goal in those conditions. So when you look at situational football, Pittsburgh lost. When it came to the team's side of things, special team-wise, they lost that as also. And you don't usually see that with the Pittsburgh Steelers based on what we watched the entire season thus far.
We know with Mike Tomlin with extra time is always going to bring a different game plan, something for a team to have to prepare for. That is the Bengals that will be on the wrong end of that ire, perhaps, but this is a tough schedule down the stretch. This is a Steeler team still very much relevant in that playoff picture and for those top seeds and in the division. This is not a relevant Cleveland team, but nothing's more dangerous than a man with nothing to lose. Emory, when you look at Pittsburgh moving forward, how do they use this? We know Mike Tomlin's going to get the most out of his team, but as we said, those opponents, they're going to require something special, especially offensively.
They're going to have to decide what they want to do with this Justin Fields package, because you can't get predictable by personnel and what they were able to do, bringing him out there, and you kind of knew it was going to be a run play. And that's what allowed Cleveland to really reset the line of scrimmage and stop the run. Their short yardage run game is not very Steeler-like. Even if you just remove Justin Fields' package from the equation, they're not able to run the football on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. They have to be better at that. That's what you expect Pittsburgh to be. And so offensively speaking, if they can't run the ball, which they weren't able to do tonight, even in ideal conditions in the first half, they're going to struggle here in the second half. And in the passing game has to be a little bit more layered than what it is. Right now, it looks like passing plays and not a passing game. I love what I've seen from Calvin Austin. He seems like to be the one to step up. They got the tight ends involved over the middle of the field. If they can continue to build on that, they'll find a run game that they're looking for.
Mac, put a bow on this night for us. I know it's an odd question to ask here in the face of this sort of loss against a previously 2-win team, but what does this moment do for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward?
Now you got to look yourself in the mirror. I mean, we've been patting the Pittsburgh Steelers on the back over the last few weeks, deserving so based on their performance. But now you really have to look yourself in the mirror and get back to the little things, attention to details. Because when you look at a team that has been thriving with the Pittsburgh Steelers, you would like to see a better start on the road. That's the most important thing when you're playing against a team that's spiraling in the wrong direction, guys. Get off to a fast start. Get off to a fast start. Don't play around with your food. You hear me say that week in and week out. When you play around with your food against teams that are not on the same level in terms of production, you allow that said team to gain confidence. That's what happened. The Cleveland Browns went into halftime up 10-6. Applauding each other, feeling good. Came back, Pittsburgh came with a surge. Guess what? Cleveland made the extra play they needed to make. So for Pittsburgh, when you look at that gauntlet, they are getting ready to endure. And yes, you're playing against the Cincinnati Bengals. That's a few games below 500, but that's the wrong team you want to face off against if you're not in your bag, because their offense is totally different than the offense that you faced tonight. They got a superhero at the quarterback position, and they got a superhero at the wide receiver position in Jamar Chase. And if you allow those guys to get things running, good luck. You won't be able to come from behind and try to make things competitive. So this was a humbling experience for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But right now, you got to get back to the drawing board.
He did it to my guy on his birthday, too.
Yeah,
that's true professionalism here from Bryant McFadden. Go blow out some candles. Go have yourself a nice piece of cheesecake.
I already blew them out.
You blew them out?
The Browns blew them out.
All right.
And while we having our nice segment, guess who's texting me? Hakeem Dermish. All right, come on.
Well, I believe there is a wager to be paid. The Cleveland native and the former Pittsburgh Steeler. You will be seeing Bryant McFadden.
Is he wearing the Florida State shirt?
He is. That might have brought some of that luck on, but you will see him soon in a Cleveland Browns jersey. Sorry, Mac. Happy birthday. Yikes. Appreciate our guy. Hey, he's been with me. He's been by my side through some tough Bears moments this season. I got my guys back.
There's a lot of Browns on that
I
list.
will be retweeting that picture of him in the Browns jersey, though. Steelers in road divisional games on Thursdays. Perhaps we should have known. Struggles, including this one.